Mary Bartlett wipes her eyes and takes a deep breath. It's been a rough hour. I try to leave her with some comforting words. You know, Mary, some people just aren't cut out for marriage. They make vows, they say the words, but it just isn't there in their hearts. She nods and tries to smile. How about you take some friendly advice from an old man who's been around the block a few times already? There are plenty of men in the world. You're young and attractive. The main problem you're going to face is trying to separate the wheat from the chaff. You want to take your time, find yourself anew, and then let a good man find out what a wonderful person you really are. She smiles and gets up to leave. Can I give you a hug? Now I had to smile. Yes, but my wife has a strict one-hug limit. She smiles even wider, and I get a wonderful hug from a woman who is just beginning to heal. I close the door as she leaves, pour myself another coffee, and settle back into my chair. Without a doubt, Mary will be the highlight of my day. She has everything but good taste in men and a healthy self-esteem. We will work on both. I make a few more marks in Mary's file and see who's next. Ah yes, the Smiths. It's 5 minutes to 11, and my last session before lunch is waiting for me outside. It's another court-ordered counseling session. When are these judges going to realize you can't impose therapy? You can't lock a married couple in a room and force them to listen to each other if they don't want to listen. If I have 1 out of 10 successful couples who go through court-mandated counseling decide they want to stay married, then I'm having a good year. Give me a divorced spouse any day. I can help them. I open the folder. Let's see, John and Charlotte Smith. Court-ordered pre-divorce counseling. He filed a petition. That's not good. Men tend to follow through no matter what. Women come with hope. Men come with determination. He's been talking to his friends, so he's already got a script. I need to find a way to get him to open up. So, old boy, get your belts on and get ready for battle. I open the door to my outer office and say, John, Charlotte, are you ready? They get up and walk toward me. It's weird. Charlotte's face has determination written all over it, and his face has sadness. It's not what I expected. I invite them in and they sit down on the couch together. That's a good sign. Usually the man wants to sit in a separate chair. We settle in and I take a breath to give them time to look around the room. They need to get comfortable before we can do anything useful. When they seem to be settled, I ask, So I see that Mr. Smith has filed for divorce and Mrs. Smith is asking for counseling. Mr. Smith, may I call you John? Yes, that's fine. You can call me David or Dr. Phillips. I'd be happy to have either one. John just nods. John, why don't you start first? Why are you filing for divorce? I can't live like this. I've tried, but I can't, and I won't. It's not what I signed up for, and I don't see any alternative other than divorce. Could you be a little more specific? What exactly is it that you can't accept? She's cheating on me. I married her to build a life together. I'm not going to be just one of many. It's not many, asshole. It's just one. Charlotte seemed to find her voice. All right. Okay, Charlotte, why don't you explain to me what's going on? I couldn't tell whether she was taking a pause to gather her thoughts or to suppress her anger. Then she said in a very controlled voice, The old boyfriend came back to town about 6 months ago and we met up again. It wasn't planned. It just happened that way. He was my first. We were a couple all through high school, and when he left for college, I was devastated. I met John about 2 years later, and I forgot about my boyfriend. John interrupts. And here's the other thing. She won't even tell me his name. Okay, John, we'll take turns. Charlotte, go ahead. Well, like I said, we're reunited. What do you mean reunited? As if I didn't know, I needed her to explain. We went out to lunch to talk about old times and catch up. You know, stuff like that. And we had a good time, so later we went out to lunch again. It was just lunch? She just doesn't want to talk about it. She stares at her shoes for a while and then replies, At first? And then? With her, it's like I'm pulling teeth. I feel like a damn dentist. Later, we went to dinner. And you invited John to join you? She scoffed at the question. This was a woman who had no respect for her husband. Why? He doesn't know Bar. She almost said his name, but stopped herself. So you and Bar... I couldn't help myself. So you and Bar went out to dinner alone. Did you leave your husband at home or did you go when he was out of town? The first time he was out of town. And the second time? I told him I was running late for work. So I'm dealing with duplicity, deceit, disrespect, and, I bet, infidelity. I make a mental note to thank the judge. Have you done this before? She seems interested in the carpet at this point and doesn't answer. Not answering is a pretty clear answer, so I move on. So, why don't we cut to the chase? Charlotte, are you cheating on your husband? This pisses her off. When she doesn't answer, he cuts in. You're damn right I am. She's admitted to it. Can you believe it? She's decided she deserves to have 2 husbands and wants to split her time between us. I told you you'd still be number 1 to me. We'll live together. We'll grow old together. I just want to spend the night together sometimes. Is that so much to ask? Yes, he hissed. And fuck you! Well, maybe if you were better at it, I wouldn't need him. All right, you two. Take 5. I said it as much to reassure myself as to silence them. What a bitch. I took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. Why don't we cut to the chase, huh? I'd like to spend 15 minutes with John, and then 15 minutes alone with Charlotte. Then we'll get back together and see where we stand. Can we do that? Charlotte looks annoyed, but she agrees. She gets up and closes the door behind her, and I can turn my attention to John. Okay, John, explain it to me in order. As he speaks, I watch him. He's of medium build, not tall but not short either, not strong but not weak either. He speaks in a straightforward, calm voice that doesn't hide his pain. He doesn't seem dangerous to anyone, but he doesn't seem docile either. Well, anyway, it's just like I said. She's having an affair with her ex-boyfriend and she wants to divide her time between us. I don't know if she's reliving her high school years or if she just thinks she deserves more, but I won't do it. I made a commitment and I've kept it. I thought we were building a life together, and now she wants this and that. No, I will not live like this. It's all or nothing. Either she's my permanent wife or no wife at all. And you can accept a divorce if that's the way it is? I prefer it. He leans back in his chair to catch his breath. She sat me down and told me how it was going to be. She said she knew I loved her and wanted her to be happy, so I had to get over my resentment and let her have it. Then she said that if I didn't accept it, she would rake all the coals out of me in the divorce. Fine. I could count on her blowing up if things didn't go her way. I assume you have a good lawyer? Yes. And what did he say? He said it's a 50-50th state. Since we don't have kids yet, it'll be a clean break. So what do you want? I wanted a wife and a partner, and I got a damn cheater. I lived alone before, and I can live alone again. All I know is that I'm not going to sit at home while she does some other guy. And I'm not going to live in one of those damn open marriages. That's not me. I can't live like that. I leaned forward and said in a conspiratorial tone, You want to know something? He nodded. Most people can't, and shouldn't. John, for most people, marriage is a commitment to work on the relationship, and it works best when both people are pulling in the same direction. It's not a contract for unlimited sex. It's a promise to take care of each other. Life takes its toll on a marriage, and it is the job of the couple to cherish the relationship. When the going gets tough, we look for what is of value in the other person and hold on to that. People change, and we have to change with them, but we have to do it without forgetting the commitment and why we made it. So you think I should call off the divorce? Is that what you want to do? Honestly, no. Then don't. I'm not saying you should accept whatever changes she throws at you. If you could accept change and negotiate a new relationship, that would be a different matter. It seems to me that you can't, and she's not being realistic when she expects you to accept a new relationship when you had no say in forming it. So what I'm saying is that she needs to go back to what she originally promised or accept the end of your marriage. At this point, John shook his head. She's not going to do that. Yes, I suspect you're right, but I'll give it a try and see what happens. I suppose I should be glad we don't have children yet. That remark struck me to the core. John, most of my practice is working with adults who still carry the pain of their childhood. When things like this happen and children are involved, It's not for nothing that the courts place the greatest emphasis on the well-being of the children. They can't process what is happening and they struggle with it. They take it personally and blame themselves. Whether you divorce or stay together, the chaos your wife has wrought will haunt them for the rest of their lives. You are young, you have time to start a family, and believe me, there are plenty of good women in the world who would find you a great catch. I could tell that John was listening, really listening, and thinking through everything we were saying. There was nothing complicated about John. He knew his opinions and shared them honestly. He was a classic example of what you see is what you get. Afterward, we talked for a few more minutes about life after divorce, and John promised to meet with me if things didn't work out. When we had discussed everything that needed to be discussed, I escorted John out and invited Charlotte in. So, Charlotte, I had a very productive conversation with John. To cut to the chase, let me ask you, are you going to maintain a sexual relationship with this other man? She hesitated for a long time and finally looked me in the eye. Yes. Do you really think that's fair to your husband? I will be there for him. When you're not with another man, it will only be one night a week, maybe two, and sometimes weekends. John will be fine. I'll still give him all he can handle. Oh, great. Another woman who thinks she has a magical body that no man can refuse. You know, Charlotte, it's not just the sex you give him that matters to most men. The sex you give someone else diminishes what you give your husband. He'll be fine. He works hard enough at night as it is. Why does he work nights? We're saving for a house. So he's working overtime to earn money to buy a house for the two of you to share? Well, he'll never agree to the three of us sharing it. I know that. She laughed at her own joke. What the hell, you stupid cow? I should have pulled myself together and not telegraphed my thoughts. Charlotte, I have to tell you that I don't think John can take it. It's just his little male ego. He'll get over it. It's only 1 or 2 nights a week, and every other night I'll rock his world. He gets me 5 out of 7 nights, or at least 4. That's more than half. I don't hear the bar. I don't hear my boyfriend complaining. She cut her husband's time short with each statement. Your boyfriend didn't make vows to you. He didn't promise to build a life with you. That's a different matter. What happened to the till death do you part? Vow? I'm not leaving. I'm not ending the marriage. I'm still by his side. 4 or 5 days a week and a few weekends. What about leaving everyone else behind? Did you forget that part? No one believes that anymore. Besides, I'm not moving in with my friend. I'm just spending time with him. And having sex with him. She didn't have an answer for that. We talked some more, but she was adamant and unyielding. There was no way to fix the situation, but I decided to try. John had already scrapped the idea, but it seemed worth considering. Charlotte, would you agree to John having a girlfriend on the side and spending a few nights every week at her place? I expected her to be angry at the suggestion if my diagnosis was correct, but the flash of almost fury surprised me. I see what you're doing. You're trying to paint me as a hypocrite. Well, he doesn't need some whore on the side. I'll still give him what he needs. Sounds like he needs his own wife exclusively. He'll be fine, and he doesn't need some damn whore on the side to fill in for him. Well, there you go. As I suspected, it wasn't a level playing field in Charlotte's world. I brought John back into the hall, and he took his seat next to Charlotte again. John, Charlotte, I've talked to both of you. I've listened to you, and I think it's more than clear. Charlotte, you have an inflated sense of self-worth that has caused you to destroy your marriage. I think you have a shallow understanding of relationships and strong narcissistic tendencies, and I think you are essentially incurable. You will destroy every marriage you have. We can work for years, and you will never change. If looks could kill. Then I turned to John. John, I'm going to recommend that the judge grant the divorce. This marriage can't be fixed, and frankly, it's toxic for you. If you want, I'd be happy to meet with you and help you get through the divorce and start a new life where you can find happiness and a partner you can trust. It's up to you, but I'd be happy to help if you want me to. John quickly agreed. I couldn't help but notice the mixture of relief and sadness reflected on his face. This was a good man who had bad taste in women. I couldn't fix her, but I could help him. Charlotte, on the other hand, was spitting nails. I was promised 10 sessions. You were supposed to change his mind and make John realize he had to become a man and get with the program. Charlotte, I'm afraid your program is not John's program, and what you want is not suitable for his mental health. If you change your mind and want to return to a more traditional marriage... Thank you very much. My lawyer is going to file a complaint with the judge. I'll make sure he never sends anyone to you again. Oh, calm down, my heart. Charlotte, I've been doing this for a long time. You can make any complaints you wish. My decision stands. Charlotte skipped out of the room, and I felt as if a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. What about you, John? Are you going to be okay? John thought for a moment. Yes, I'll be fine. I'd like to take you up on your offer to meet. Things are really crazy right now, but I think when the smoke clears, I might have some questions. I didn't want him to wait. I just so happen to have some free time next week. John smiled. Why don't you come back and we can talk some more? John agreed, stood up, and shook my hand. Walking him to the door, I said, And John, don't do anything stupid. Charlotte isn't done yet. You have to stay calm and do what's right for you. If she changes her mind, which I think is unlikely, then all three of us can be together again. Otherwise, you and I will talk and help you work through this. Walking out of the house, John looked lighter than walking in. I need to remind myself that this job brings surprises, and these two were a big surprise. I went back to my desk, took a few notes, and thought about the last session and the rest of the morning. Playing matchmaker between two patients isn't exactly ethical, but I kept thinking that John and Mary would make a cute couple in the future. Maybe I'll schedule a group session sometime. It wouldn't be my fault if it worked out for them. I reached into the bottom drawer of my desk and pulled out my lunch. What a treat! This is what marriage is supposed to be, and it's these little daily chores that keep a relationship going. My wife made me a meatloaf sandwich and pasta salad, and my wife makes the best meatloaf ever. I picked up the phone and dialed her number from memory. Hi, honey. How was your day? You won't believe the case your brother sent me this time.